Bjorn the Fell-Handed is one of the longest-serving Space Marines in the Imperium. He now lives on, interred within the armoured sarcophagus of a venerable dreadnought. "10,000 years ago, during the Great Crusade, Bjorn fought alongside the mighty Primarch of the Space Wolves Legion, Leman Russ. Bjorn has even seen the Emperor before he was encased within the Golden Throne as a result of his battle with Horus. Bjorn's saga began as a member of the Wolves of Fenris 3rd Company during the Horus Heresy. At this time, Bjorn was a young warrior who demonstrated great skill and tactical prowess in battle. Bjorn's potential was noticed by many among his peers after his efforts in the fall of Prospero, his first major campaign. Bjorn lost his left arm at some stage during the campaign on Prospero. However, the exact details of this event have been lost with time. Some say that it was during a battle with a foul demon of chaos. The monstrous demon sent a surge of warp energy coursing through his arm as Bjorn hacked the creature down, while other accounts state that it was a psychic assault from a powerful chaos sorcerer that struck his arm with a lightning arc of burning warp energy. In either case, his arm had to be removed to prevent the corruption from spreading through his entire body. This is partly the reason he was later given the title of the Fell-Handed. Bjorn's pack was often requested by commanders to spearhead assaults on heavily defended enemy positions. They were renowned for their deeds at purging the heretics of the Emperor and facing down countless waves of Xenos forces, despite being heavily outnumbered and surviving through the carnage of war. Things would soon change for Bjorn's pack, however, when they ventured to the volcanic world of Grith, where they would face the Demon King Avrax, the Arch-Slaughterer. The mighty demon of Khorne proved too powerful for even Bjorn's pack, who all fell at the hands of Avrax. Bjorn was the last surviving member of his former pack. The Space Wolves would ultimately claim victory in the battle against the demonic war host, largely thanks to the arrival of their Primarch, Leman Russ. Bjorn would also play a large part in their victory. After watching the massacre of his brethren, he led a furious assault against the seemingly unstoppable Demon King, fueled by a vengeful anger which finally drove the enemy back to the abyss. In the aftermath of the battle, Bjorn struggled to accept the fact that his kinsmen had all died while he still stood. Strong feelings of guilt dominated his mind, and he never forgave himself for not joining them in their glorious death. As he witnessed his packmates burn, releasing their spirits from the mortal plane, he knelt before their burning bodies and swore an oath of vengeance against their slayer, Avrax. It would take the Space Wolves almost 5 years to track down the location of Avrax. With this knowledge, Leman Russ led a force of his Space Wolves in an assault against the foul creature, seeking to claim the head of the Demon King himself and avenge those who had been slain in the previous conflicts. Bjorn was part of Russ's initial assault force, who shared the same goal as that of his Primarch, to finally put an end to his nemesis. Bjorn hacked his way through the horde of Khornate demons with the same vengeful fury that had been stirring in his heart since their last encounter, carving a path to the mighty Demon King. In the thick of battle, Leman Russ looked on with pride as he witnessed Bjorn's heroic actions. Bjorn's skill and ferocious fury overcame the raw power of Avrax, and with a final move, Bjorn cut through the demon's throat with a vicious swipe of his wolf claw, felling the beast and claiming vengeance for his wolf pack. Following the battle, the Wolf King Leman Russ inducted Bjorn to his personal wolf guard, naming him the Fell-Handed in honor of his mighty deeds. Soon after, the Space Wolves had gathered for a feast on the planet of Fenris to mark the Emperor's victory over the forces of chaos. This would become a tradition among the Space Wolves, known as the Feast of the Emperor's Ascension. It represented the defeat of the traitor Horus at the Siege of Terror and the day the Emperor ascended upon the Golden Throne. It was at this feast that Leman Russ would suddenly be overcome by strange visions. Little is known of what he saw, but he would swiftly depart Fenris, venturing to the Eye of Terror with his closest Wolfguard warriors, leaving only Bjorn behind. The previous campaign against the Demon King Avrax saw Bjorn emerge from the ordeal stronger and wiser than ever before. Out of all the members of his Wolfguard, Leman Russ saw the greatest potential in Bjorn, making him the best candidate to take the mantle of command in his absence. This was the last time the Primarch Leman Russ would be seen by the rest of his wolves. Some believe that his visions drew him towards a source of uncorrupted warp energy, capable of restoring the Emperor back to full life. Others think that he left in search of his old friend and rival, the Dark Angels Primarch, Lionel Johnson. Some even believe that he still walks among the Imperium of Man, shrouded in appearance, forever watching over the Emperor's realm. All that can be said in certainty is that Leman Russ disappeared in the 211th year of the 31st millennium and has not been seen since. After the departure of his Primarch, Bjorn was left with feelings of rejection and bitterness, as the true reason for leaving him behind was never explained by Leman Russ, making an act of high praise and honour seem more like a punishment, the reason of which Bjorn was unaware. Every year following the Primarch's disappearance, the same feast of the Emperor's Ascension takes place, and every year the place of Leman Russ was left empty. After 7 long years, the Wolf Lords gathered and elected Bjorn to become their first Great Wolf, in absence of Leman Russ. With his new role, Bjorn initiated the first Great Hunt, where the Space Wolves would begin their search in the empty void for their long-lost Primarch. To this day, Leman Russ has yet to be found. Some say that Bjorn will never know peace until he fights alongside his Primarch once more. In the aftermath of the Horus Heresy, during a period known as the Great Scourging, Bjorn would lead the Space Wolves into countless battles, proving his tenacity and resolve as a fitting commander, and demonstrating that his Primarch's decision was well placed. During the Proxima Rebellion, nearing the end of the 31st millennium, his heroic career as Great Wolf of the Space Wolves was to be tragically cut short. Bjorn led the Space Wolves in an assault against the Dread Sun Fortress in an attempt to rescue the Space Wolves trapped within its dense walls. As the assault progressed, Bjorn was struck down, sustaining horrific mortal wounds. With his shattered body still clinging to life, he was quickly recovered from the battlefield and interred within the body of a dreadnought. Shortly after this, the chapter's skilled Iron Priests fashioned a dreadnought-sized lightning claw, known as True Claw, in honour of his favoured weapon. Bjorn wields this mighty weapon with deadly skill and has used it to great effect. The Iron Priests equipped it with a built-in heavy flamer to allow Bjorn to incinerate anything that escapes True Claw's reach in plumes of blazing fire. His other arm is usually fitted with an assault cannon, a far more devastating weapon than the bolter he previously wielded. This deadly array of weaponry equipped to the Dreadnought's chassis pales in comparison to his most potent weapon, his legend. His very presence on the battlefield inspires his fellow Space Wolves to deeds of unimaginable bravery and ferocious courage. The tide of many battles has been shifted simply by the inspiring sight of Bjorn striding into combat at the head of an assault. After these events, Bjorn decided to withdraw from his position as Chapter Master, as he could no longer fulfill his duties. Despite this, Bjorn's burning conviction and determined spirit was undampened. He continued to serve his wolves and ploughed into battle leading from the front and inspiring his fellow battle brothers for countless years. He was seen as one of the most knowledgeable members of his chapter, and his successors would always seek his wise counsel. Bjorn's long years of service would eventually take their toll on the remains of his ancient body, and he spent longer periods of time in stasis sleep, remaining dormant until he was next awoken. He is now only called upon in great need, when his ancient wisdom or legendary skills in battle are required to achieve victory. One of these occasions was during the 32nd millennium, in the First Battle of the Fang. This saw the Space Wolves fight against the powerful Primarch of Chaos, Magnus the Red, where Bjorn inflicted severe wounds on Magnus after facing him in close combat. Another more recent occasion was during the 41st millennium, in the First War for Armageddon. Bjorn's renowned leadership skills were called into action to negotiate a truce between the Space Wolves, Grey Knights, and the forces of the Inquisition. Bjorn the Fell-Handed now represents the Space Wolves' greatest link to their past, while acting as a compass of wisdom that guides them on their future paths. His legendary deeds and heroic actions have been regaled in countless stories throughout the millennia. Some believe that the spirit of Leman Russ watches over Bjorn, and that no harm shall come to him until the Primarch finally returns to fight alongside him once more. Bjorn's status as a hero of the chapter is close to that of Leman Russ himself. Although rare in occasion, his words are as purposeful as written lore to his kin. Even the stubbornness of Logan Grimnar is swayed by the wise words of the eldest Great Wolf. On those dire occasions where Bjorn is called to the field of battle, the Space Wolves fight with a renewed vigour by his mere presence. If Bjorn comes under threat from the enemy, the Space Wolves are driven into a fanatical rage and will surge forwards to defend the Ancient One, giving their lives if necessary to ensure their eldest living link to the past remains unbroken.